Public betting percentages point both ways. A public betting percentage shows where recreational money is landing. When 3/4 of the tickets on a game sit on one side, the number is describing the crowd, and the crowd is worth locating, because over large samples, the crowd loses. That much isn't controversial. It's how sportsbooks stay in business. What gets assumed rather than checked is which side the crowd is standing on. Usually it's the favorite. In the games drawing the most money, and therefore producing the most extreme splits anyone quotes, it often isn't. 3 of the 4 upsets most commonly cited as proof of fading the public are games where the public was right. Next, what the number counts. A public betting percentage tracks the number of bets placed on each side, not the amount of money. That distinction does more work than anything else here. A game might show 80% of tickets on the favorite and only 60% of the dollars, and the gap suggests a smaller number of larger wagers landing on the underdog, while a larger number of smaller ones pile onto the favorite. Some trackers report tickets, others report money, and on the same game, the two can point in opposite directions. Ticket percentage locates the crowd. Money percentage locates the dollars. Where they diverge, the split usually gets described as sharp money separating from public money. Next, where the number comes from. Action Network, Covers, and Vegas Insider all publish this, and some carry a money split alongside the ticket count. Individual sportsbooks once did too. That stopped being common once books noticed the information helps the people betting into them. No source has complete data. Each tracker sees a slice of the market, and 2 sites will report different percentages for the same game on the same afternoon. 3 trackers showing a heavy lean on the same side is probably a real lean, and significant disagreement between them is itself the finding. Next, why the line moves. Sportsbooks adjust lines to manage risk. Forecasting the game is somebody else's job. When heavy action lands on one side, the book carries a liability, so moving the line makes the other side more attractive, and the action that follows offsets some of the exposure. In the ordinary case, that pushes lines toward favorites, because the ordinary case is a crowd betting the better team. A team that opened at -3 can close at -4.5, and the underdog picks up 1.5 without a single thing changing about the matchup. In the NFL, plenty of games land on margins of 3 and 4, so the distance between +3 and +4.5 is the distance between a push, a loss, and a win. The direction isn't guaranteed. Where a crowd falls in love with an underdog, the same liability management moves the line the other way. Next, what the research supports. Thresholds get quoted with far more confidence than the work behind them supports, and nearly all of that confidence traces back to 2 studies from the same shop, Sports Insights. The first, from August 2012, analyzed 8 NFL seasons starting in 2004. Betting every underdog returned 50.3% against the spread. That loses money. Taking only the teams that received 20% or fewer of the spread bets lifted it to 57.1%. The sample behind it was 147 games, about 18 plays a season. The same team reran it in December 2015 to see whether a better-informed public had eroded the edge. Going back to 2003, the 20% row came back at 55.5%, against the 57.1 measured 3 years earlier. That's what edge decay looks like when somebody bothers to remeasure. That row also rests on 182 games across 13 seasons, roughly 14 a year, and a rate built on 14 games a year is going to move. 2 details get dropped in most retellings. Only one favorite has ever drawn less than 20% of the spread bets in that sample, a Jacksonville team laying 3 points in 2011, so the threshold is a proxy for large underdogs almost by construction. And the authors warned that their percentages are a market average across 6 offshore books, not 1. Readers who used a single book's numbers wrote in to say the rule wasn't working. Next, 2 games everyone cites. 4 games get quoted repeatedly as proof that fading extreme public consensus works. New England entered Super Bowl XLII at 18-0. Books opened at 14, watched it get bet down to 13.5 almost immediately, and closed between 12 and 12.5. The Giants won 17-14. The public was on the Giants. TheSpread.com reported on the morning of the game that spread wagering had passed 100,000 bets across 5 online books, split 64% New York and 36% New England. Jay Kornegay of the Las Vegas Hilton told ESPN that action was weighted to the Giants by as much as 60%, which is why books moved off New England -14. Nevada sportsbooks lost a record $2.6 million that day because the crowd took the underdog, and the underdog won. Note which way the line traveled. It came down toward the dog, reversing the mechanism described a minute ago. Then Game 7 of the 2023 Eastern Conference Finals, with Boston an 8.5-point home favorite at open and 7 to 7.5 at close. Miami won by 19 at TD Garden, 103-84. The public was on the underdog again, and heavily. FanDuel Research published splits of 84% of spread bets and 83% of spread money on Miami. Covers put BetMGM at 81% of bets and 82% of handle, taking the points, and reported the number walking down from 8.5 to 7 as early Miami money arrived. In the 2 largest games on the list, the crowd was right both times. Next, Virginia and the missing number. Virginia was the number 1 overall seed in 2018 and a 20.5-point favorite. UMBC won 74-54. Reliable public betting percentages for that game don't exist, and a widely repeated figure of 95% on Virginia traces back to nothing. What can be verified is the market price, which says the same thing more precisely. Several Las Vegas books listed UMBC at 25-1 to win outright, and some declined to offer a money line at all. Going into that Friday, teams favored by 20 or more points in the tournament were 155-2 straight up since 1985, and UMBC made it 155-3 by the end of the night. The superlatives have moved since. At the time, it was the second largest point spread upset in tournament history, and Fairleigh Dickinson beating Purdue in 2023 pushed it to third. Next, the game that fits. The fourth one fits, and it fits in the direction the other 3 don't. Week 1 of the 2021 season, Jacksonville at Houston. Jacksonville was the road favorite at -3, with Trevor Lawrence making his first NFL start and Urban Meyer his head coaching debut. Action Network reported in July that 88% of bettors were laying the points with Jacksonville. By kickoff, the same outlet had it at 61% of tickets and 75% of the money. Those 2 figures say different things. The ticket count fell 27 percentage points between July and kickoff, while the money stayed at 75%. The crowd thinned and the dollars didn't. Houston, starting Tyrod Taylor and widely picked as the worst roster in football, won 37-21 as the home underdog. The public backed the favorite here and got it wrong, which is the shape the argument actually needs, and it comes from a Week 1 game nobody remembers. Next, what the number locates. Taken together, these 4 points somewhere narrower than the usual reading. Heavy public money marks a price that has been pushed, and the direction of the push depends on which side the crowd fell in love with. In marquee games carrying a romantic underdog, the crowd frequently takes the dog, which is precisely when the favorite becomes the cheaper number. One limit the 4 games don't show is how far the trackers disagree with each other. A game sitting at 72% on one site and 64% on another means neither figure is exact, and a percentage without a timestamp is half a number anyway. Public betting percentages guarantee nothing. What they do is locate a predictable bias. The crowd leans toward favorites, toward overs, and toward the teams it recognizes, and it leans that way consistently enough to be measurable. Knowing where the heaviest commitment sits means knowing which prices have been moved by something other than the matchup. The public loses, and that's arithmetic rather than opinion, because it's how sportsbooks stay in business. None of that adds up to a system, and treating it as one is how people end up on the wrong side of a Super Bowl. If this was useful, hit the like button and subscribe. The full analysis, with sources, is at LoserWins.com.